Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Yes, guys, we are officially back doing more shows on SIKH Channel. We hope you've been keeping well, keeping active, keeping safe. For those of you watching who have never seen this face before, my name is Hamraj, commonly known as FlexSingh. And as you can tell by the name, I'm quite into my sports. And on the topic of sports, we're joined by a guest here today by the name of Nav Singh, who's a sports scientist at Arsenal Football Club. Introducing Nav Singh. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.
Sat Sri Akal, Waheguru Ji Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Fateh. Thank you for having me.
Now, Singh, how you doing, my bro? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Just relaxing and waiting for the questions you're about to ask.
Awesome. Now, before we actually start the interview, I like keeping things real. Like, forget the camera, forget the lights. For a Punjabi person, for a Punjabi Sikh person, to get into a full-time profession at probably one of the largest football clubs in the world, I think that's a big achievement. I think that deserves a round of applause itself. That's fantastic. And I think for the people watching at home, I think what's even better is probably if someone could let off a nice jagat at home, that would be amazing too. I would love to let one off right now, but I don't think the mic will be able to handle my volume of the jagara. For those who know me personally would know that. But yeah, now Singh, I've got to give it to you, man. Fantastic work. So how's your day been? What you been up to so far?
Yeah, good. It's actually my day off today. We've got a game this evening, obviously against Liverpool, and
Yes.
today's just been a relaxed day. Waiting for this, to be honest. Waiting to have this conversation and restart this kind of topic regarding Asians in football and Apne in football, really. And yeah, so I've been quite excited for this conversation with you.
Now, Arsenal versus Liverpool is never going to be an easy match, right? Do you ever get a chance to speak to the other sports scientists from the opposing team?
Yeah, we obviously like within the education pathway in universities. I kind of know a few people that are still that are in the industry that work in other clubs from Liverpool to Manchester United to Aston Villa. Like, are loads of people that I still keep in contact with, still share ideas on how we can better the performance of our lads and keep them on the pitch, really.
That's wicked. Now, do you think Arsenal will win? Do you think they are their favorite team to be winning against Liverpool?
I'll always have to back my team, right? So I'll always have to back Arsenal. So yes, I'll say yeah.
Awesome. I mean, Liverpool did win the league last year, so it's going to be a tough battle. It is a tough battle.
It is. But we've got a great manager in place who seems to be doing the right thing, and we're pulling out results. Yeah, for sure.
That's right. I mean, Arsenal have had its ups and it had its downs as well. And talk about Arsene Wenger. Have you ever met that legend himself?
Yeah. So again, I'm very fortunate to have been at Arsenal for around 8 years now, and during my time there with Arsene, I got to work under him for 2.5 years, and it was a very, very memorable experience. I've actually got a signed inquisitive art piece from from Ink himself, as well as Arsene Wenger, and a shirt of when he was leaving the club after 22 years service.
Oh wow, that's incredible! That's amazing. You're gonna show me one of those in person one day. They look awesome.
Oh, 100%.
They look awesome. That's awesome. So you said you worked at Arsenal for 8 years. That's a long time, man. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
How did you actually get into becoming a sports scientist?
So it all started basically from university. I always wanted to play football. Every young kid wants to play football, and I dreamt of like kind of going into it in some form of way, whether it be playing. If it wasn't playing, it'd be some sort of coaching capacity or even like a PE teacher. I love the idea of sports, right? So when I stumbled across university options, I saw sports science, and that really kind of intrigued me, because the idea of what makes an athlete, not just a footballer, is what I wanted to know. Because obviously as a player and obviously watching the sport and kind of who your idol, you want to know, how did they get to where they are now? And that just always was the question that was going in my mind. And then sports science ended up becoming the choice at university. I ended up moving to Hertfordshire, and I was studying sports science, playing football, and I got an opportunity, which was at Arsenal Football Club, to do an internship, a voluntary internship as well. So I took that with both arms. I thought, wow, this was a great opportunity for me to sit there and embed myself in professional sport. And I didn't think I would get the opportunity, but I did. And I literally made it my aim to show the club and show myself that I could work in a professional organisation like Arsenal and study what actually is a footballer. How do we create them, right? So yeah, it's been an amazing experience, and in the last 2 years, it's just been um, putting that voice or putting that message out there to our community of what it is or what it actually takes to be a footballer.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. And talk about becoming a sports scientist. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play. And have you actually seen one of the documentaries about Cristiano Ronaldo? I think just before he joined Real Madrid or when he joined Real Madrid, about how he actually, focuses and how he actually works like a proper machine. Have you seen that documentary before?
Yeah, I have seen that documentary, and some of the tests that they use for like jump profiling is an area that I specialised in, which was force platform testing. And within that, we kind of get an idea of the athlete and how well they move in and out of one movement, which is a performance movement. It's a jump, and we see the eccentric components, the concentric components, and how well they manage that, and whether or not they can maximise their performance based off one skill. And then we then transfer that information to how they are on a pitch. And what usually is the case, they correlate. The higher you jump, right, the faster you are, it correlates on the pitch. You see the exact same thing. So yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that documentary, and it's something like I literally was kind of put my head in. I wanted to get involved in how they did it and how they measured it for Cristiano.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's those kind of documentaries that inspire you to get into the profession and learn more about the topic. I think what would be incredible if we can get a Sikh Punjabi athlete to such a stage like Ronaldo, and then we can start doing these kind of sports science work on them too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely it would be an amazing achievement for us all. It'd be an amazing thing to see. And right now, when I look into our kind of community and where the space that we're sat in right now, I think people sit there and they look at the role models of the athletes, but they don't see the road that they've taken to get there. And I think now we have to create that road for our young Sikh kids and anybody really. We need to create that road that's very kind of um, that is very kind of like noticeable. We can see the journey, right? We've got support within that because at the moment, I just still think it's a bit shadowed. We kind of like we don't know which team to follow. We don't know what to do outside of the club to make us better. And I think if we can create that road and that pathway for our community, it will give us a greater opportunity to becoming a successful footballer like Cristiano.
Definitely, definitely. I think there's a great big confusion within the community, especially in our community. That, especially like for example, myself, when I started playing football when I was younger, I wasn't really given the guidance or like the proper tutorial on how to do stuff. You kind of had to do it yourself. So it was really tough being a young footballer. And how about yourself? Did you ever join a Sunday league Saturday football team when you were young?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was young, I was obsessed with football from the age of 5 years. From the age of five, I idolized both my brothers that were footballers. Thierry Henry as a Premier League kind of person or a person in professional football, and I just always wanted to play the game. Like my mother and father are both shopkeepers, and during the 80s and then that 90s time when I was growing up, it was obviously where I'm from. It was kind of like seen as they were working constantly and it was not safe to actually go outside and integrate with the other communities. And so all I did is I took to sport, right? Whenever I got a chance to play football, I just did that. And I went all the way through till I was 18, played at a decent level, would never made it professional. And I decided to put my focus on sport as like a, how can we create footballers then? And I just changed my kid's dream into an adult one, which has led me to the position I'm in right now.
Wow, fantastic. I mean, we always do encourage people to follow the passions, follow the dreams. Sometimes the dream that you do have may not become the exact dream that you want it to be, but when you follow that route, you follow that route, you find out that there's other streams that you're going to, and that still passion lies within that. And I think that's amazing that you've actually found a place where you find home as well, which is fantastic. And
Yeah,
going forwards
definitely.
too, and of course, going
Yeah.
forwards too, I want to just jump back to when you was talking about how you analyze the pro footballers' jumping abilities. I want to jump
Mhm.
onto that and think. who would you say, from the stats that you've been given and the data you have analysed and collected, who would you say is the highest jumper at Arsenal?
I can't give that information out. I'm sorry, Flex. I can't. I can't put that sort of information out there for everyone to hear. It's kind of like
Okay,
confidential, right? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, we can probably figure this out ourselves. To be honest, because Aubameyang is known as a speed beast, so he definitely has some leg muscles that can probably make him jump high. I think David Luiz is quite good as well. So I'm gonna put those names out there, and I'm gonna see what the people think about that. But that's
Yeah, you could
fantastic.
be
That's
right.
awesome. So what kind of other machinery do you work with as well? You do a high jumping, and I'm guessing you do work with speed too.
So a typical day with us would be the players would walk in about 9:30. We would meet as a department at about 8:30. We would review the players, so the list of players, and we'd go through them and see where they're at, whether or not they can join in training, whether or not they need additional work, whether or not they don't need the additional work, and then we would review that. And in the process of that, we would then have the lads come in. Once they come in, we would go through a monitoring stage where we'd ask them a few questions of how well did they sleep, what did they eat yesterday, how ready they feel to train, and then we put all that information into an iPad, and it would kind of punch out some results or percentages on how they were based on the week or on that particular day. From there, we would then do a series of tests. And the reason why we do these series of tests is because of injury risk. So things like groin tests, hamstrings, knee to walls for the ankle, and the jump profile, and it gives us an idea of fatigue for the athlete. And then what we do with that, all of that information, we base it on what they can currently do and what their average is, whether or not they're below or above that average. So we can then prescribe whether or not they're in a fatigue state or they're in a ready state to perform. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not just the jumps and the stuff like that. It's kind of like a lot happens in beforehand before they even go out to training, and then when they're out in training, we use GPS devices and heart rate devices. So the lads will wear a GPS vest onto the pitch. I'll sit on the pitch, watch the training happen. I would cut the drills. I would look at how fast they've ran, the distance they cover, how well their heart is coping within certain drills. And then at the end of it, I would ask them how they felt training was as a rate of perceived exertion. Coming in, I would then report that information to the coaches, to the players, and then to the relevant staff that needed to know what happened. And then we would feedback on whether or not how we should then prepare for the next day game, or for the individual that might need a bit of work or something else.
Amazing, amazing. Now, I've also seen another device where a football can be used as a way to get measurements like shot power, shot accuracy, and that kind of links with your mobile device too. And you know, these kind of
Yeah.
like statistics and stats. To be honest, I'm not a sports scientist, but I know a lot of people watching right now have also played like Football Manager or like these kind of
Yeah.
like online games or like FIFA, Football Manager career mode. So they're seeing these kind of like fatigue levels, shot power, and these kind of stuff. Is this something that you've been playing all your life too?
I'll be honest. I stopped playing like FIFA probably just after university. Just something I just kind of fell out of. I just stopped doing it. I do know that esports is massive at the moment. I do know there's a massive space for esports. But yeah, I used to be that young kid that would look at results, look at stats, and I'd be that same kid as what I see my niece and nephew would do now. 100%.
So, so those moments when you were actually playing on career mode and manager mode, I'm going to ask you the big question. When you were playing Arsenal, did you win every single Premier League and did you win every single Champions League at the end?
Like I'm a true competitor in any respect. I train to win. I want to win. I want to compete in life and everything. So yeah, I would always be like, yeah, look, I gotta win. I want to win.
Awesome.
I would sit there and say yes. I would. I'd make sure that I'd want to succeed. Right.
I think you know what that gives me an idea. We should play FIFA one day and see who comes out on top. We do Arsenal versus Arsenal. I think that'd be a good match.
Now, now I think I would lose. Now I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I could play the FIFA games anymore.
Hey, to be honest, I haven't played for a long time either, so it might be a
All
fair
right.
match.
It actually
Yeah.
might. Hey, whenever you're ready, man. Whenever you're ready, let's do this. Let's do this.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Fantastic. And on the topic of Arsenal, what's been your favorite moment since you've been working there for about 8 years? You must experience so many incredible things over the time. So if you can like maybe say your top five moments in no particular order, what are they?
I think I'll go with two moments. One when I first joined the club and I got the internship role, and I remember saying in my interview like, "Oh, I've worked in football previously. I've worked in team sports. I'm not kind of starstruck." I said probably one player would probably get me is Thierry Henry because I idolized him when I was younger. And within a week of working at the club, he had walked in the door with his daughter, and I literally was like, I couldn't get any words out. I was a true fan at that moment, and that was a good moment because he signed a shirt, he spoke to me, he then joined the club, and I got to see him work. I got to see him in action, and actually his second term at the club, which was an amazing experience. And it's like to sit there and say that I've met my idol, and I've actually spoken working with him. It's unbelievable for me to sit there and say that. The second one would be the kind of the journey as a sports scientist. When I started at Arsenal, it was a voluntary internship. Like as a young Asian, like you're always seen as like, oh, you've got to get educated to be financially secure. You've got to get that job that can then get basically money, and then you can then settle down, right? Whereas with this, it was like totally a risk. I was doing something that I loved, and it was an opportunity, but I didn't know I would get any reward from it. I was like, I hope so. So I remember like I spent 3 years working at Arsenal trying to create my role with them and trying to show my worth, and then I was doing secondary work for two other sporting clubs through rugby as well as tennis. And I remember doing those three jobs, and I kept thinking to myself, "Is this worth it?" Like, I've been here 3 years now, trying to work in elite sport, and the glamour side, the front facing side, is amazing for people to see. But behind it, it was like all the other personal things weren't excelling. And I remember when I got my opportunity to work with art in the first team and work with the likes of Arsene Wenger and the amazing staff and players that we had at the time. I remember being like, "Wow, this is my opportunity. This is my chance." And when I then secured a position in which I could then look after myself financially, we'd won the FA Cup. I actually got to share that moment with the manager and the players and
Wow.
the staff, and that was just an amazing thing. Like, well, I've never thought in a million years that I could sit there and say I've been a part of a trophy experience like the FA Cup, which is a prestigious award for a place like
Definitely.
Arsenal, and under a manager who's one of the best managers in the world that we've ever had. So yeah, there's two amazing moments there.
That is amazing. So I think the message that hits home hard for the people is that you should always follow your dreams and work really, really hard towards them. Of course, you're gonna receive some obstacles, some difficulties on the way, but it's all about how you bounce back through them and go through the top. And now I want to talk about you because, of course, you had your favorite moments. Were there any difficulties that you faced working at Arsenal or trying to get to that kind of profession?
Yeah, big time. When I got the internship opportunity, I wasn't academically smart. I wasn't a geek at school, right? I played football, and I remember one of my good friends at university, Vic. He told me like, "Look, you've got this opportunity. You need to nail down now. You need to focus your attention and give this your all. You can't lose this." And I remember straight away, my first stumbling block was I needed to focus. I needed to level up, as the youth might say. I needed to kind of get my attention to be good at this job that I've been now given to me, or this opportunity. So that was the first one. And then the second was the financial thing, right? It's kind of like, will this give me what I want long term, and me personally, will it actually give me a job that is paid? And that was a struggle for around 3 to 4 years. I remember then, once I then secured that, it was kind of like securing my position and having an influence. It then became the big thing. It was like, oh, okay, how I'm in this club now. What more can I do? How can I excel this further? And then I decided to look out. I decided to try help our community and use the knowledge that I've gained to then educate our community. And one thing I found with that is like you can't do everything yourself. It's such a hard thing to balance both your work and then external projects, right?
Definitely, definitely. And this is a perfect example of a person who works hard can achieve a lot of good things in his life. So I want to talk about the topic of community books because you got an initiative going on as well called Up and Football, trying to support the people, especially the youngsters, to get more into the sport of football. And going around global as well, I believe you went to India as well to help out some of the children over there, training them with
Yeah,
sessions.
yeah. So I've been twice now, well, 4 times to India now in the last 2.5 years since starting this initiative, since actually looking out from the current job that I do to try educate our community in Apne in football was initially Asians in football, but I then changed it to Apne because it's the word in itself means one of our own, right? And I wanted to change the slang of it, of what is being said now culturally, to like, no, I want to show our community in a space of sport and show what we can do within that space of sport and actually educate, empower, and evolve our community in that space, right? So within starting it, I look towards helping local football clubs from Indian Gymkhana with Jay Nagwa to Shazil at Amidia to GNG Leicester to Sporting Bengal. And then I just reached out to India. I thought, that's where my roots lie. I thought if I can do it here, I can do it over there, and they need it more than ever. The education and the
Definitely,
empowerment, because it is a struggle in India. It is a different climate. It's a different status, um, both financially and professionally in India. And I just thought to myself, let me see if I can get out of my comfort zone, properly out of my comfort zone. I don't speak the best of Punjabi. And let me see if I can go there and speak to them with the thing that I love, which is football. And I've met some amazing people, right? I did an amazing project with Ewa. I did an amazing project out in Ludhiana. And then I did one in Chandigarh. I was just like, look how football has connected me with these individuals, connected me to my culture, my roots, as well as helped me promote the message that I wish to do.
wow, that's incredible. I mean, football is a universal language, so sometimes if you can't speak Punjabi, you can just play football, and everyone will understand that kind of language, right? Amazing,
For sure.
amazing. So, what kind of things have you been doing up there? Have you been giving them training sessions, starting boot camps, maybe, or football trials to join football teams abroad or within the country?
So the first one came with a company called Ewa, based out in Ranchi, Jharkhand, and they basically is a school that's run where girls go through child marriage, sex trafficking, and stuff like that, and they're young Indian girls at the age from 10 up to 16, possibly even older. And they use football as like their intervention. The school provides them a safe space to educate and a place to find hope and happiness through a sport using football. And as soon as I saw this documentary here, I was like, no, I want to go help them. I want to do the best I can to go over there. So my first initiative was to take loads of Arsenal gear from the club and messages from the club and go to UA and sit there and say, look, we support you. We support this school. We support what you go through. As in, like, we know that you go through a bad time, and we know that the society is not the best, but this school is giving you a safe place, and we see that and we support you. And we're all the way over in the UK, right? So that was my first initiative with them, and we've got a documentary that's due to come out, but COVID, COVID kind of paused that at the moment. So I'm very excited for the community and everyone else to see that about what we did at UA School. The second one then came through just people noticing the work I did in UA, which was in Chandigarh. They had an actual academy called Round Glass, and they reached out and wanted me to help educate the kids on the kind of sports science side. And I did like a 3-day camp, which was really good. I'd go back there again. It was amazing to see all the kids. They had literally everyone from Punjab area to come to this academy, so they would house them for I think 3 years and just have them in school and playing football every single day. It was an amazing initiative that they were starting in Round Glass. It was a beautiful initiative. And then the last one, which was in Bani Sahib in Ludhiana, I got asked to say, look, do you mind coming out to coach our students? And I was like, yeah, of course. Got there, 50 Singhs in front of me, and I was just like, what, you want me to coach now? And I was like, yeah, there was like, look, they're ready. They've got their boots on and everything. And I was just like, you serious? I looked to my parents, I looked to my brother, and I was like, okay, all right, let's do this then. I had to get some motivation, some confidence. Like, all right, my Punjabi ain't the best, but I can talk football, and they could talk football, and we had one of the best sessions. And they made that trip a very memorable trip for me.
That's wicked. That's wicked. I mean, Singhs always do things properly. Like they always do chuck it all the time. So like, shade bank kam kariye aapa. That's wicked. That's
Yeah,
wicked. That's wicked.
and the amazing thing about it, and actually going out there, actually taking an actual step out there, is to see them play football. And maybe their environment isn't the best. Like, they play on rice fields, right? They don't play with no goals. They play with like bamboo sticks for goals type thing, like literally. And they're good players. Like, I watched them, I coached with them. They understood their game. The coaches were good coaches. They cared. They were YouTubing drills. They were really trying to promote the sport and get their players good. And the players were there like 7 in the morning. At your school, they would be there at 7 in the morning, leave at 5 to get there, to get to training for sunset, to then train for an hour and a half, for them to go home and do their education and house chores. That was the only time they got to play sport, and that was just like, wow, look at the discipline they've shown there. Look at the attitude they've used to sport. Look how much they love it, right? And it was just an amazing thing to see.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of dedication. That's a lot of hard work. I mean, hey, next time you're going to India, do invite us. We'll be happy to cover it down and maybe show the rest of the world too.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, due to COVID, I was due to go out again in May and spend a lot longer time there and do more work and meet more people and really try push this message out, right? Because I definitely feel
Mhm.
like within the Asian community, within the Sikh community, we need to educate ourselves more in this space, because there's so many people that I talk to that are always asking me, how do I get my kid to be a professional footballer? How do I do this? How do I do that? Or can you help me? And can you help this? And I'm like, we need to create this pathway now. We need to create a consistent message that they can see and they're part of, not just your kid, not just you as a mother or father, but anyone's kid within the community. Like, we need to support the actual attitude of trying to get a young Sikh individual or other Asian, other nationality, whether they be Hindu, Muslim, into the professional game of sport or football. Because there isn't there. Like, I always throw this same fact out that many people have heard. It's 8% of the population that are UK based, that are British Asian. 3,000 players in the leagues of football, and we have 11 to 15 players from a British Asian background. It's not
Hmm.
good enough, and I think we need to work from there and actually change those stats.
And I think on that interesting question, we're going to end the show here and we're going to leave it for the next episode. So, Nav Singh, I want to thank you for coming and joining on the show here today. And we want to thank you, all the viewers, for joining in and having an exciting time with Nav Singh and FlexSingh. And we will catch you guys for the next time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.